actually some dispute about how the origins of the band.
That is so true.
My wife, who is a vocalist, claims that it was her gig that she hired the three of us, and that was the first time we ever played together.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true, but it might be.
I have a first-hand account.
Okay,
You do.
What do you have?
I think we were all there.
Paul knows what I'm about to say because I talk about it all the time.
Okay.
This time, I got hired to play this gig down the street, and it was like a gig that was tossed around in the community.
It was a Sunday afternoon.
Sunday
gig.
afternoon
my
gig.
goodness
It was after
gracious.
church.
That gig.
I was, up against the wall, and I was like, oh my God, who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? And I was like, Andrew, will you play the gig with me? Andrew's like, oh, of course. I played it last week with some cats. I got my ass kicked. It wasn't worth it. Paul, and I was like, I told Paul like some details that probably
They were true. They just they were.
It was a little
slightly
fuzzy.
misleading.
It was real misleading.
like he's, Don said, oh, the gig pays, $120 or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
120 for the band.
For the band, not
For the whole band.
And he's like, hey man, say I'm gonna hook up some stuff in Raleigh, and we gonna get some gigs. And it was like cool. It was like we felt really good after the gig, and
But there was a chemistry to the band even then. I remember. I was like, oh, these guys, they play really creatively and openly, and it's real cool. And I enjoy this. Like, I could play this all the time. I came from another scene. I grew up in North Florida, and had kind of been established a little bit down there, and then moved up here, moved my family up here because I thought it was the right move for my family. But of course, in my mind, I'm always thinking like, who are the guys I want to work with, and particularly drums, because bass and drums are sort of a, they're one in a lot of ways. Cheers, brother. You develop a sort of sound, a shared understanding of what the time and the beat is, and it's a sort of, again, trust and camaraderie and all of that. Immediately I felt that kinship with Don, and then Andrew, one of the things that he brings is Andrew's a little crazy, man.
that's why I be fucking with him. Because he's crazy, bro.
Because he's crazy. You never know really. Andrew is a variable. You never really know what he might do. There's a sort of, whether he knows it or not, maybe I never said this to you, Andrew, man, but I feel like on some level there's like an unspoken understanding that like
There is.
the norms don't necessarily apply, and so
Yeah.
kind of brings this like whoa, a creative he's throwing something in the pan that's like firing up, and you don't know what it might be, and so that's a lot of, I don't know, man. At least for me, it was just a lot of fun. We all three of us appreciate the tradition and
Love swing.
Yeah, we love to swing.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. How about it for the band? Playing some tunes. It's the Thrio. It's like a trio, but there's three of us. Yeah, that's the joke. It's going to keep going over well, I think.
Thrio Volume 1. Find Your Way.
Uh-oh.
That record's going to be hype. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a pile of tunes. We recorded in a very short amount of time, and we listened back afterwards, and we were pleased with the results. That idea of group sound, group mind where we have a common idea for the tunes that really just came to a head in the studio.
Part of the way the jazz community works is that there are interchangeable parts to some degree, and that you can do a gig and there's a community of musicians and you can call a number of cats to do it, depending on what the vision or the sound is. It's really beautiful about the way this music works, but at the same time, if that's the only way you do it, it does seem like it's a detriment to an ongoing, developed group sound that has a sort of cohesive nature about it.
It's literally like a pickup game of basketball. If you ever go to the courts on a sunny day and you might go with your homeboy and then like you see two other dudes balling and you're like, oh, what's up? It's literally like that.
I mean, it's kind of like having a conversation. You could have a conversation with a stranger on the street. Mm-hmm. It might not be the same depth of a conversation as a close friend.
I feel like with us, we're like super open.
Yeah.
And we have like good conversations.
I mean, making art is kind of hard, you have to be a little bit vulnerable.
Yes.
So like these cats are just two cats that I feel like I'm not afraid to let that hang out. We all have clutter in our brains, in our lives. We have things going on. And for me, being on stage with this band is healing, in like a emotional and spiritual way. It's like a form of worship, a form of camaraderie, a form of like brotherhood, and like an acknowledgement of something greater than us. And that's like something you can't buy that. You can't purchase that.
You can't even manufacture it. That is one of the beautiful things about the way this music, and especially this band, works, is that you show up to play the music. It's an act of faith. I mean, you never really know what it might be. Even we have some stuff worked out, arrangements, this and that, but still, you never know. You never know what it might be, and it takes some courage and faith and trust.
We all have these certain things and characteristics that mean a lot to us, like family, faith, and all that. So, those things kind of come into play too.
What the scenario, rehearsed or unrehearsed, the commonality, the common ground is a sort of
common ground.
A sort of common ground is a shared way of what's true and good and beautiful in the world,
And that's also, something special about, we're just friends, we're close. We have a good time on and off the bandstand, which is not something you can always say about everybody you get to play with, I mean, it's no hard feelings. It's just you don't always develop that kind of friendship with everybody. So it's not something